a lot. And fantastic performance to pick up that silver medal, almost picking up that gold.
I think one of the reasons that all the crews felt they could do something was that they all knew that the reigning world champion, what the hell kind of attitude to racing, which...
Absolutely, and that's the kind of sort of sniff of a gold medal that, you know, famously over the last kind of different Olympiads sort of sequences it's not really been there. You know, the Australians were so dominant, then the British were so dominant, almost all the way through, almost getting surprised of course at Athens, but really up until this year, it's the first time Brits have been under pressure, have been almost kind of easy to beat, really.
It wasn't that easy, but I agree with you. That's the thesis, and I think everybody had a thought we could do this, and New Zealand did it. Leading over the start of the men's coxed pairs, not an Olympic event this, but a race for medals, and we have in lane 5 Italy, and there we have Francesco Gabriele in the bow seat, Valerio Massimo in the stroke seat, and the cox practically invisible, just his head there on the left of the picture, lying down in the bows. That is Gianluca Barattolo. And in the Australian crew, now in camera, Fergus Pragnell in the bow seat, Jason Hurd in the steering handles there. Doesn't have toggles in the conventional form.
Yeah, for all the bow-loaded boats, that's the terminology when you have the cox in front of the boat rather than the back. You have a little kind of tiller which you can move left or right to do the steering rather than toggles to the side. Affectionately known as the water taxi, this event.
By whom, affectionately?
All coxes.
All coxes. Cox pairs oarsmen do not, well, they probably do think of it as a water taxi, but they know fine well who the engine is. This is the slowest boat in men's rowing, slower than the single usually, although there are two of you because you've got to push the cox along, and it is desperately hard work. It's interesting also that because it's not an Olympic event anymore, it used to be an Olympic event dominated by the Abbagnale brothers from Italy until they were pushed off the podium back in 1992 by the Searle brothers of Great Britain, and its best time was last set in Indianapolis in 1994, so the best athletes have tended not to be in this event, and the result is that it's 13 years ago since the world record was set in 6:42. We won't see 6:42 today because although it's a tail breeze, it's so gentle that it's barely making any difference to times at all. And this is a slow course, and our times have, for the most part, been several seconds off world best.
Absolutely, we just had a little shot there, lovely little shot of the Polish cox, Daniel Trudzinowski, who is just shouting at his bowman there, encouraging him to move them out a little bit further down the course, a little bit more effort, and seems to be working so far with the Poles coming through 500 metres leading, with Germany in second, Italy third, Croatia fourth, and Australia fifth.
And we don't have a result at all for Canada, which means that
they're in there, but
they missed the timing person missed the button.
Pip McDaniel in the bow seat of that Canadian combination was in the 4 at Athens. It did surprisingly well for a lot of people. Also rode at Cambridge, having some success in the boat race. Focus there on the German crew, seeing if they can add a few more medals. The same crowd to cheer.
Michael Ruhr and Hanno Weinhausen. Michael Ruhr, 27 years old. He's been in the 8 in the past, but this is a relegation for him, and he must be hoping that he can wind his way back onto the German scene. And the German scene in a little bit of disarray in some boats, and he could well have a chance.
I see, but it's the Polish moment looking pretty strong out in front. Very sweeping boat on. It's a nice long levered accelerated stroke. Of course, in these boats, when we sort of say they're a bit slower, they also become heavier to pick up every catch. You've got to make sure that you just try and keep the boat ticking along really fluently through the front end.
A lot of Cox pair oarsmen say that it's like being in the gym and simply lifting a weight, what's called a power clean, when you lift a weight up to your chest and stand still and then you just got to do it again because the whole weight of the boat is practically stopped between strokes.
These boats are about 55 kilos each, aren't they? The actual boats themselves?
Yes, and the coxswain's 55 kilos as well.
So it's 110 kilos between the pair of them. There we go.
But it's the drag that's a crucial point, actually, because what the resistance you're working against is the water drag on the hull. And there have been various treatments to hulls borrowed from yachting and other things where they try to get enough slip, the hull rough enough so that it holds water and it's water slipping against water rather than plastic slipping against water. And that was ruled out of rowing. And so now you see people... Shark skin, yeah, it was it. Like shark skin, yeah. And it's sort of cling film that they stuck on the boat. But that was ruled out. And so now you see boatmen and athletes polishing boats to try and get as shiny a surface as possible. Concentrating there on the Italians. Valerio Massimo in the stroke seat and Francesco Gabrielli in the bow seat, and they're hanging on there to the
Polish combination. They've really just Polish have just stretched out there. You saw just before the Polish cox leaning up a little bit. You see they're just turning around, shouting some more encouragement. There's two big athletes, but they're really starting to make their mark on this field. So must be coming up to 750 meters to go. They're starting to move out on the rest of the field. Italians trying to go with them. And the Canadians there on the far side starting to move up now. Kip McDaniel and Derek O'Farrell in the stroke seat, coxed by Brian Price, who's also the cox of the 8. Starting to move on the Italians, who are here currently in silver medal position.
Well, the Canadian squad with a very strong looking 8, which dominated its semi-final, won by the semi-final by a length. The Canadian 8, but then behind them, most of their boats, the pair and the 4, not doing so well. So this cox pair could be their salvation in the small boat.
But it's Australia who have come through the line in 3rd position, edging out Canada. Australia, who are in the near side of the picture, who haven't really been able to, starting to accelerate now. Fergus Pragnell, Jason Hurd, Marty Rabjohns. Strong combination, but the Polish really starting to stretch out again. You saw the cox banging on the bow of the boat. Just again trying to encourage a bit more effort from this man. And at 38.5 on the near side of the Australians, really starting to move. Germans here in the picture, going to have to start accelerating if they're going to pick up a medal. At the moment, though, the Poles very confident, 36 strokes a minute, and it's just long and accelerated away.
Brilliant picture there of Gianluca Barattolo screaming at his crew, red in the face, looks as hot as them, shouting at them to come on, but he's got them in a silver medal position with Australia in bronze, and it's Poland leading towards the line as we get into the last 200 metres. Poland being closed down now. There's their cox, making sure that they can see what's going on around them. They certainly can, but closing fast on the far side is Canada, but they will not get back in touch, I think, with the leaders of, the silver medalists, Italy, and at the moment in bronze medal position, Australia. Given that they've got a cox on board, Australia very close to the boys on this side, but it's Poland coming into the last 10 strokes, a length up on Italy. Italy will take silver, and neck, Australia and Canada. Impossible to pick between them. That steering difference may have allowed the Canadians in. Kip McDaniel there on the bow seat, pushing that Canadian through, and as we cross the line, it is Canada in bronze medal position, Poland first, Italy second, Canada in bronze medal position, Australia in 4th, with Croatia and Germany trailing. But the coxswain thinks he did it all.
Of course he did.
Stroke watch on his chest. And the Italians not at all celebrating, hanging on for a silver medal, because they were under some threat there as the 2 bronze medal crews, Australia and Canada, closed on them, but it was Canada who took it by 0.8 of a second, according to that. So that's a larger margin than it looked a couple of strokes before. But
yeah,
I think probably the Australians lost it.
Absolutely, I think the Australians knew it was kind of over, and it is a bit heart-wrenching if you were coaching that.